Hey buddies, I'm Foggy here coming at you another Borderlands 3 video. Today I'm going to be showing you a very special weapon that is criminally unused in the community. It's a very good gun that got a buff back in mid-2020 and hasn't really seen the light of day. Since then, I made a video a long time ago about this weapon, but I'm ready to recover it. And just to show you the real power of this weapon, I'm just going to real quick speed grave ward with it. I'm going to enter exit Iron Bear as we traditionally do for our black market videos. I'm going to activate elemental projectors on us, and then I'm going to blast grave ward away in just a few seconds. And of course, the weapon that we're talking about today, you might have already guessed it by looking at the weapon, is going to be the Sleeping Giant. Now, the Sleeping Giant is a very special weapon. Most people are already familiar with a weapon by the name of Lucky 7, and pretty much what the Sleeping Giant does is a Lucky 7 random bonus when you reload, but this gun is actually from the base game. So in theory, the Lucky 7 is kind of a Sleeping Giant in a way, because Sleeping Giant in theory came first. Now, there's a bunch of different buffs that you can get just like the Lucky 7. The only annoying part about this is that there isn't a real clear way to tell what buffs you've got, but let's go over to Sanctuary just so I can give you little tips and tricks on how to figure that out. But before we get into it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. You have no idea how much helps me out, and let's get into it.
Legendary? Whoa! No way!
Now that we're back in Sanctuary, basically the variants that the Sleeping Giant can spawn is going to be kinetic, fire, shock, and corrosive. There's no cryo or radiation, so there's nothing to worry about. The max damage for this weapon is going to be 7k, as you see right here. Personally, I like to go for fire ones, and it can spawn with list projectiles up to 1 or 2. But the real main potatoes of the Sleeping Giant is the reload effects, and there's a total of 6 different buffs you get, and there's a 33% chance of you getting all the buffs, which is very, very exciting. There's going to be 6 total ones. There's going to be 2 times projectiles, which doesn't actually double your projectiles. It just makes your projectile +1 as far as I'm aware, because when I used the Infernal Wish, it just turned it into 3 with that effect on. There's one that gives you 106% additive gun damage. There's one that gives you 90% fire rate. There's one that gives you increased reload, one that gives you accuracy, and one that gives you handling. Now, of course, the one that you're going to want is preferably all the buffs at once, which has a 33% chance of happening, which is very, very nice. Even if that's not the case, primarily what you want is the projectile fire rate and the gun damage. And the easy way to tell with that, right now the Sleeping Giant I'm using right here is just kind of like baseline. It doesn't have the double projectile. I'm pretty sure it doesn't have the 160% more damage, and it certainly doesn't have the increased fire rate. It may have the increased handling or accuracy, I'm not quite sure, but this is pretty baseline Sleeping Giant. When you spawn in, it does reload automatically, so you will get a random buff when you load in for the first time into the game. But when you get the desired buff, you can actually switch and fast travel to other locations while keeping your buff, which is very, very nice. Once again, the only thing that's going to cancel it is swapping the weapon and or reloading. Primarily what you want to do is preferably to have a build that's set up to regeneration for magazines, so you can keep your buff out as long as possible, and Moze does that very, very well. Right here, I'm going to just keep reloading until I notice I get my desired effect. Now, this has the increased fire rate very clearly, but we don't see double projectiles. Now, the easiest way to tell if you got all the buffs is if you're dealing more damage against Jack Clone, the increased fire rate, and then you'll see more red lines than usual. So let me just keep going until we get what we're looking for. Right there is actually pretty perfect. We got the 160% gun damage. We don't have the double. Oh, we do have the double projectiles. Okay, so we have the double projectiles, and we have the increased fire rate. So I'm pretty sure this is all the buffs. I think it has the increased accuracy as well. It does. So primarily, once you do have that, you are free to switch to another map and or experiment here to see how much damage you can deal. It does lots and lots of damage per body shot. Each projectile is going to deal like 400k, which is very, very nice. But since it shoots for so fast, it quickly deals millions upon millions of damage. It's very, very fun. And of course, one of the key ways to regenerate your ammo as Moze is going to be redistribution. And because of that, I'm also using a minesweeper that has 1 point in the redistribution, so we can capitalize on this so we get as much ammo back into our magazine as much as possible. And due to the fact that is a percentage based on your maximum magazine size, I am of course using secondary stats for weapon magazine size on my class mod and my artifact as well, which is very, very nice. So just one little shot here makes the gun regen almost 30 bullets in total, which is very, very nice. So you could just shoot for a long time and have most of your shots not be consumed and get most of your ammo back. But if you have everything set up and you don't have a full ammo regeneration build, you won't unfortunately be able to constantly fire forever. you will slowly lose out on your bullets, but I am able to shoot really fast here and long, which is nice. But of course, we're using some for the road with Iron Bear as well, which means that when we exit Iron Bear, we of course are going to get infinite ammo, which is very nice, which just allows us to shoot for the next 5 seconds for free. Now, another key thing with this weapon, besides just dealing tons of damage, is making sure that you have a shield that can complement it. Due to the fact that it's going to have double projectiles baseline when it has all the buffs active, like desired reload effect, you probably don't want to go for Infernal Wish because it's not going to double your damage at that point, because you're not doubling your projectiles, you're just increasing one projectile. You're not going to increase your projectile up to 4, you're going to increase it up to 3, which means that you're only going to see a 50% DPS increase. And because of that, we are going to be wanting to use a Revolter. I'm using a low level Revolter and a low level grenade, both with different action skill and elements, so they can in fact both apply. Because if both elements are the same, you can't have them stack, which is very unfortunate. But because they're both low level items, I can, one, destroy my shield on demand, whatever I want. Of course, it destroys in a 1 grenade when I use action skill N, but this allows us to get the Revolter bonus fire rate, which is very useful because that allows us to shoot even faster, and then it gives us the bonus elemental damage with shock, of course, as everyone knows with Revolter, which just makes our damage really high. Back in the day, it didn't have the reload capability of getting you all the buffs with the 33% chance on reload. So ever since that buff, I've always been a big fan of this gun, but no one ever talks about it. And if you guys want a optimized build for this gun besides the one I'm using here, which I'll just briefly show you the skill tree for, I do have a more ammo regeneration heavy build back in the day, but it's level 65. If you guys are interested in that video, I'll put it on top right. It uses terror to give you tons of regeneration so you never reload, but this is still suffices. It doesn't need any ammo regeneration as long as you're conservative with your bullets and use Iron Bear effectively to get infinite ammo. Let's go over to the Malawan takedown just to showcase more on how well this build can do. So I'm just going to load in really quickly. And while I'm heading to the Malawan takedown, I do want to say that this weapon can be obtained in Promethea, where the Kilovolt area is, with the One Punch guy, which I think his name is literally One Punch, and it's Electricity. If you guys are interested in farming it, it's a dedicated loot drop from One Punch at a 15% chance of dropping. And since this weapon is a Dahl weapon, I do want to mention that I am doing challenge runs. Recently, we just completed a Dahl only run on our challenge run on Twitch. So if you guys are interested in challenge runs, definitely click the link on the top right for my Twitch channel and give me a follow. But since we swapped over to a new map, we didn't lose any of our perks at all. And because we're running Minesweeper, we will see occasionally us just dropping out of the out of the fight, because Minesweeper will instantly kill us. But we're able to kill these guys very fast, and this is without Revolter. And with Revolter, we're able to kill them even faster. Like right there, I'm pretty sure that was like a near one shot, which is very good. Now, one thing I do want to switch over to is action skill and corrosive armor grenade, which I do have a low level version right here, just because there's lots of armored fellows in the Malawan takedown, which will allow us to deal more damage to them because of the corrosive stuff. But the essential thing that you want to do is just enter exit Iron Bear as much as possible, so you get lots and lots of ammo regeneration as you're going on. While you're hitting crits and Iron Bear, you'll also get redistribution to proc, which will then allow you to regen your ammo while you're also down, or when you're out, where you're in Iron Bear is what I'm trying to say. But another key thing that you guys will see whenever I get downed, because we have guardian points, we do regenerate all of our magazine without actually like quote unquote reloading, which is very useful, because that essentially lets us get our magazine all the way back without having to worry about it too much, which essentially is just a free instant regeneration of every single thing on this build, which is awesome. Now, if you accidentally reload, I would take a brief moment to go to your rest area and make sure you have the desired buff. Like right here, I could look to see if I have the desired buff. It kind of looks like I am. The one bad thing about this weapon is that as soon as you lose out on the buff, you'll noticeably see that your damage gets a lot worse, which is probably the reason why people don't usually prefer using this weapon. over other weapons in the game. But if you can keep the buff up as long as possible, your damage is going to be really, really high at all times, which is very, very fun. Right here, we just dropped down in the Valkyrie squad. I'm just going to enter exit Iron Bear. I'm going to then use Elemental Projector as I was showing with Grave Ward, and we should down these people pretty quickly. Our first phase is done really quickly, and then any mobs that spawn will get down quickly as well, due to the fact that, as you saw, that our damage is really, really high with this gun. I don't think we actually have the appropriate gun damage increase buff with the reload, because I'm noticing our damage did get down a little bit lower than it was showing before, which is a bit unfortunate, but we're still able to deal decent damage here and still down these guys pretty easily and any enemy that spawns. So we're just going to wait for something to spawn and then immediately lace into the badass there. This gun is definitely one of my more favorite guns to use, and I'd hopefully convince you guys to try it as well. And hopefully you guys were able to learn something new as well. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye-bye.
And the last shall be first to immerse in a pass out heat, facing him up with a moxie melt till he woke up drowning in tchotchke hell. War in a cave with a torch on a wall, then a window arrangement of porcelain dolls.